Oops. I think we disconnected for a moment there, but we should be back.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Um,
I believe we're back.
so I got Electric Moth. Gonna wheel and deal for either a Lightning Rod or another Electric Moth. Opting to draw.
I mean, that isn't a bad decision given the small amount of resources that you have on stage. If you're not going to get the kill turn this, you know, the lethal this turn, then it makes the most sense to try to get cards in hand either for build or for block next turn.
Oh, you're coming in real quiet again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, Snuggy.
No, it's on my end.
It's actually like quality ASMR. If you ever want to do like bedtime lullaby ASMR, that's probably really,
I would say
really
that
good
I've
volume
met
for
so
it.
many people that are like that say something similar.
Yeah, you got like that, like
Especially if I'm tired, because then my voice starts getting lower and lower as I get tired. So I start
yeah.
talking like this all the time.
All right, so we're finally getting
And
some
my voice is
damage
low enough
in.
as is.
We're finally getting some damage in, and we're finally getting some 5 checks in.
So hit Sniping Spy and Warp Gate. Warp Gate once again.
Hmm. I feel like if you want to keep attacking, Sniping Spy would be the way to go, but that's pretty conditional on this world's weakest hunter dealing damage and drawing another attack. Because Death from Above on a 9 is not the attack that you're playing, even if you clear your card pool. Or I guess it'd be on an
It's
8.
it's yeah, but even then, that's still a lot to ask when you only have 2 ready foundations. I think would almost be build what you can and then hope for enough blocks.
Yeah, I think that hmm. I think this is a tough choice. I think that there is like a path to victory here, but it would take something incredibly specific. You know what I mean? Like it would
Hmm.
take like clear a card into draw Grenadier Blast with a good check, you know? And commit all the way out for it. Actually, does Grenadier Blast require a ready foundation? I think it requires a ready foundation. I think Grenadier says destroy
Grenadier
a ready to double its damage. So I
ready.
don't know actually. I don't know if there's a way to even fight through this Reiner DR, and especially not without flipping foundations.
Hmm. Well, we did see, at least reporting in, Broberg ended up taking another win, so we're going to have another Nick Reagan deck coming in on the
Okay.
next round.
Yeah, so we've got the 4 checks fellas onto the top 4. That makes sense. 4 checkers in top 4. And then we've
Yeah,
got
four
Cohen
check
and
cast.
Gavin left. Cohen's playing Godzilla. Gavin is on Rodan. So the canon matchup was the other matchup, but I feel like we've seen enough Rodan for one lifetime.
I'm tired of seeing Rodan, to be honest.
Yeah, as much as people like are afraid of the boogeyman that Nick Reagan is, I think it makes for better content usually. Did not get the scope that it was exactly the same deck though, but Broberg's deck has already been seen, I think, back at Denver. So there's not a ton of brand new stuff, and I felt like the Reiner was the newest, most different, most unique thing we had left.
I will say, I do feel like having the most recent Ban and Errata list come out, it did diminish a lot of of the new and exciting dex mechanics that we were seeing.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should have put Mitchell and Nick on the errata list as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like one or two other cards, like Hanji 2, Hanji 4 Eyes, I think is another character that, regardless of how you build her, is just like head and shoulders above every other seven hander almost. You know, like she is for damage what Rodan is for speed. And uh there's just like there's a couple more knobs we need to twist before it feels like you can actually play new stuff, or at least are encouraged to try. All right, that's a big 6 check for David here. He's got a fairly stacked hand of aggressive options here. So getting a good check on the knockdown blow was gonna be essential to being able to string out this turn. But I'm really curious what the next attack is gonna be. There's a pretty good argument for all of them, but here we have a 7 high for 9. Very blockable, but Nick Reagan not the best at blocking. I know you can't see it on screen. I don't know if you have the stream open, but the block mods in Nick's hand are not great.
Yeah, I can see it off to the side now. No, that is not good. The question is now, can David be able to pull off 23?
Yeah. Oh, we're thinking about it.
Well, given his current board state, I think he might be able to. It's just how confident does he feel that he will have the damage?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that was a risky take because this could be the slowest attack in the deck. But opting to, so like that was the best block mod we had versus what is probably the slowest or tied for the slowest attack that we've seen so far. So choosing to fail that one might mean that we don't get the block at all for the rest of the turn. Although incompatible quirks might help us out.
Yep, there goes incompatible quirks. I'm looking off to the side to see what he has in hand.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to block this on a 10, which, yeah, basically means we're going to have to ready incompatible quirks.
Dropping the speed once again.
Three mid for 13, much more blockable. Gonna go for the loot box defensively too. Kind of a strange way to use it, but I guess that's the situation we're in.
Yeah, I haven't seen it used that way. That's very interesting.
Yeah, sometimes these are the plays you have to make.
Couldn't David had transformed?
Oh, and he checked a 6. My goodness. This is the most defensive I've ever seen a Nick Reagan play.
Yeah.
Or block an attack. So, Rodan, Smiling Titan, Nick Reagan is your current 3 of the top 4. David Toombs fighting for his life to make sure that it is not two Nick Reagans and could give us a unique top four.
Even the other Nick Reagan, Broberg's Nick Reagan is on all, right? So if we do end up seeing two Nick Reagans, at least they'll be on different symbols.
That is correct. Yeah, Broberg should be on all, and that's one thing I think that at the very least it used to go a little underrated. Nowadays with Attuned, I'm not so sure. Luckily, the all symbol is not an Attack on Titan symbol. It's not in the set, so an all symbol deck should stand out a lot more from any of the 6 attuned symbols in Attack on Titan. And really quick, we've got another knockdown blow on a 9. We're giving +3 to our next check, but even if we pass it, we'd have to commit our character, but it would be for game. So it's not a terrible idea at all.
That's the play you'd have to go with in order to be able to do lethal. Because there's only one card in hand. If TC goes to block this, then David needs to commit out in order to go for a kill turn. TC takes the damage, dropping down to 5 health remaining.
Yeah, so if this next one gets its speed reduced down to 5, we ready and compatible, and we block on a 10? I don't think we get there. We'd have to check a 6. Oh no, this is a Jaw Titan attack. This is a low attack. Ooh, interesting.
He goes for the Jaw Titan attacks.
Oh, checks a 7, 8, 9. That should do it based off of the block zones.
That should be it.
Even with a partial. Oh, we've been blinked out. Haha. Yeah, okay. I was confused for a second. He was committing cards. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, David Toombs is gonna make it into the top 4. We have a unique top 4 of Rodan, Nick Reagan, Reiner, and now what was the last one? Oh, Smiling Titan with Justin Birch. Pretty cool top 4. Some names you expect, some names you wouldn't. Played by some names you expect, played by some names you wouldn't.
Doing it exactly. I am excited to see Reiner move on. Just because I am tired of seeing the other 2 characters played in every thing everywhere right now.
Yeah, and so it looks like it's gonna be Smiling versus Rodan or Nick Reagan versus Reiner. I guess we just watched Nick Reagan versus Reiner. So I guess we have to watch Smiling versus Rodan. What do you think, Snuggy? Which game should we watch?
We'll have to go Smiling versus Rodan.
Yeah.
It would only be slightly different because Broberg is on alt rather than air that we've been seeing, but we've seen pretty much nothing but the all Nick Reagan deck in the past.
Yeah, I'm thinking the only reason. So I think the main reason to watch the Broberg match is it might be faster. Excuse me, it should be faster on paper, but something tells me that the Justin Birch match will actually be faster. So I think if we want to try and watch 2 games in one round, I think we watch Rodan versus Smiling.
Yeah, and see if that ends up ending as fast as we are thinking it will be. given what Justin did with it earlier.
Yeah, we know you're playing Wub's deck, but sometimes Smiling Titan just bops Rodan on turn 2. Like, it can do that. It's way harder now to do that, but it can be done. Alright, so we've got I didn't look at the Rodan list at all. Let me just find out what symbol it is. It is Void. Okay, so we've got Void Rodan. I'm going to say it's similar to Andrew Porat's Rodan list. I would not be able to tell you all the differences off the top of my head. But I don't think it's exactly the same.
There's a few I see in there that are different, but I don't want to call them out directly.
Right. I don't think anyone would be so cruel and malicious as to have the stream open while playing their game, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just something to keep in mind.
Earlier. It's a very sweaty tournament.
Yeah, everyone's saying it's a sweaty $50, but you know, I mean, 5x your money is should be pretty sweaty. It should have been 10x. We were 2 players off from adding another $100 to the card pool and getting second place cashed out. So got a 12 on one side versus a 9. So Smiling is going to be going first. That is a big deal in this matchup. Being able to go first for Smiling Titan is huge. Now, going second's not a terrible deal for Rodan, but it does change things quite a bit. So we're going to need the correct block zones and a good build. Double Invincible Body is a very good start for the Smiling Titan deck. I guess it has to be a few cards different from Andrew's, because you can't play Combined Firepower from the discard pile anymore. So that definitely came out. I would be very surprised to see Combined Firepower in the deck still. Got to do the thing one time in game 1, yeah. Invisible Infiltration is sick.
Triple Botans build 1.
Damn, that's a lot of Botans and a lot of sidestepping.
Exactly.
Build 6 into Never Punished. You'll love to see it.
But we've seen Justin sitting on 2 cards or 1 cards remaining in hand for blocking the entire day.
Yeah. He's got a pretty good setup. Both players are pretty well set up defensively. And their offenses kind of run through the character, right? So Rodan, of course, is a defensive character, but his offense is very much just pump speed on good stuff, and we've got a tiny bit of damage pump from Red Riot's the coolest, plus Supersonic Flight, which, you know, most of the time when I destroy that, it's not even for the stats, it's to draw a card, but it does give a bucket load of stats in Rodan.
And Colossus Titan attacks coming out. 2 free momentum for Justin.
Yeah, so this is something that's really neat. We get 2 momentum from this attack, and we do have the life symbol, so we get to play last second rescue. So Invincible Body can zero out and attack as your first enhance, but last second rescue lets you heal all the damage that you took during the damage step, so it's a lot harder to play around last second rescue in exchange for needing that momentum. Uh, and it looks like we don't have Mikasa defeats the female Titan yet, so this should still deal half damage. That's 8 damage through a blocked attack.
Yeah. But no more attacks on that line. Ends up building 2 and passing. And a good 2 at that. Having display of might, getting the extra draw when he plays an attack, which most of his attacks are going to be over 8 diff, and getting a Keiko's 8 as well.
Yeah, the Keiko's 8 is surprisingly effective. I stopped putting Keiko's 8 in a lot of my decks because my ability to block was not where I wanted it to be, but, you know, and decks are just really good at playing a bunch of attacks right now. But between the league invitations and the fact that Rodan has to play like 4 or 5 attacks, to really put down like a threatening line, um, they could turn out to be like exactly the correct defensive fixture that we need. But we do get Rejuvenating Smash as the second card played. Gonna heal a little bit of that health back. Draw 2 cards is powerful, but we open ourselves to the League Invitation enhances, which could tap down our most important foundations.
Well, I did see at least he had it discarded just removed. Having Animus Shot is actually interesting because it does come up away with countering some of the Titan backups that Justin is running. Being able to remove the backup and then draw a card and give flash to the attack.
Yeah, it would be cool to see the Violent Animus Shot come out, but I would have assumed that would be before playing the Rejuve. We also didn't target the Rejuve at that Colossus Titan, so we do have a ton of cards, so discarding 2 isn't going to be the biggest deal in the world, but it's still a pretty powerful form ability.
For sure.
And we are going to use it. So typically you only got to block 1, maybe 2 attacks from a Smiling Titan in a turn. But maybe we don't have blocks on every zone.
That is something that I forgot about on Colossus Titan. The response it has, essentially Beast Titan's response, because when it leaves the stage, you get to draw a card off of it. So using something like Animus Shot would actually benefit Justin more than it would.
Oh,
Beast Titan's Call coming out.
okay. Now this one has some potential. It's got EX3 on it. And luckily that Colossus Titan gave us 2 momentum, even though we didn't add our attack that dealt damage to momentum. Between Smiling Titan and EX, this is going to get like 10 speed added to it. But Rodan can give it like minus 10 speed. So when I say it's got potential, I mean it's got potential to make Rodan push a lot of buttons, I guess.
Yeah. It's saying you need to do something to this attack, otherwise not only are you going to take damage, but I get to also potentially pull 2 backups to the stage.
Oh, and he's giving his check -2. He's giving it fake speed with the check hack, it looks like.
Oh man.
Okay, little incubating to draw a card, -1 speed.
As someone that got abused and just utterly destroyed by Smiling Titan during the AOT1 era, I kind of want to play this deck. Like Justin is selling me on this deck right now.
Oh, on the Smiling Titan? Yeah, I mean the Smiling Titan
on the
is
Smiling Titan.
it's got like legitimate like big green Timmy stompy energy, and that's cool. And I think without it being both stats, it's not as oppressive, right? Because this would have been a 9 for 12 unerrated, which is a way bigger deal than a 9 for 8, right? And it still has a potential to go up.
Oh, for sure.
We can still add 6 speed from EX, which of course would force Rodan to use some air and sidesteps, but we opt not to. And instead, we're going to go get the...
I don't think he has any direct backups, just just shift attacks to get the backups.
Yeah, we're going to get the Colossus Titan's destructive power transformed directly into our stage. So that's another foundation that we got to ramp, which is pretty cool. They're not always backups now. Oh, but no follow-up. Unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Especially because he could burn him too for 2 health if it's unblocked, which means that if it does get back to Justin's turn, he has to block every single attack that comes out.
Yeah, it's oh, here we go. Here's the Animus shot.
It makes me so happy to see that card played.
Yeah, I like this one. It's I'm not a big fan of cards that make me discard or like lose cards from my hand very much. But this one's conditional enough, right? It's got to deal damage, and then I have to remove a random card from my hand, which seems like a fair payoff considering how much they're pushing like discard strategies and like, you know, hand removal strategies. But on top of that, the anti-backup ability is just super flavorful.
As somebody that plays lots of backups, I hate the card, but I kind of love what it does.
It's so funny. We hate like opposite sides of the card. Like I hate cards that make me discard or lose cards from my hand, and you hate cards that delete backups.
Yeah.
That's super funny. Yeah, so Animus Shot is like at its peak. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that goes to show the diversity that currently exists outside of the quote-unquote current meta.
Yeah, I think Animus Shot is at its peak when the rival has 2 backups, because the damage trigger isn't when it deals damage to a character, it's just if it deals damage. So you aim at one backup and then you blitz and remove the other backup, and then it's a flash attack that will deal damage because your rival pretty much can't interfere with it, right? They can't reduce it during the enhanced step, and they can't block for the backup. So you'll usually get rid of 2 backups and get like a card draw, and they lose a card, which is just insane value for a Fortive.
Exactly. That's why I enjoy seeing someone like Tam play Beast Titan, because that's what I play primarily. But at the same time, I don't like it because you're showing everybody the ways to beat my deck.
Right? So what I think what's gonna be interesting here is we do have Throw Hate now. We do have Mikasa defeats the female Titan, but Justin has the ability to commit it with those league invitations. And if we want to pass the 7 checks on the league invitations, it might be pretty impossible. So I'm curious if he drew the throw, the Colossus Titan attacks, because that's probably going to be the only way that you deal damage through this Rodon board. Either that or he just has the wrong block zone. But like we've got Cape, we've got draw power from Aaron Sidestep, we've got Botons, we've got Battle for Dominance. Like there's so much going on here that it's unlikely that Rodon has the wrong block zone.
And like I said before, with Bertolt's devotion out on the stage, essentially he's forced into a corner where Rodon has to block everything. So the draw power and making sure that you have the correct zones is good, but at the same time you have to be able to make sure you're committing to the correct foundations in order to be able to continue to block the attack string.
Yeah, and just like you said, you know, you have to commit the right ones, and we've committed a healthy chunk of that draw power, instead keeping up the Mikasa defeats the female Titan to make it so you don't need the right block zone necessarily, and then also -2 speed, -1 speed, -1 speed. So going full stats, gonna play the cards in our hand as best we can. Playing on a 10 here, checking a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keeping up 1 Keiko's, 1 Invincible Body, and 1 Desperate Struggle.
It does commit the Bertolt's devotion, so that's less of a threat now. Still has Desperate Struggle though, so if it does get it past his turn, he at least has a way to mitigate some damage and speed bump. This is definitely a lot longer game one than I thought it would be.
This is about where I thought it would end, but I think it's going to go one more turn. I think just because Smiling went first, I honestly thought it would be Rodon like winning a turn earlier, I guess, like last turn. But Rodon hasn't really been able to put out too many attacks at all. Ooh, here we go. Okay, 9 speed for 13. Got a little bit more speed hate we can do.
Which we'll need to at this point. Let's take it down to 6. Desperate Struggle's only your opponent enhance, right? Rivals attack bonuses.
Oh, with the rejuve to gain a little bit of health back. Oh, never mind.
No, that's it.
We checked a 4 and died.
Checked a 4. Yep.
Dude, what is it with Justin Birch and beating Rodans?
Looks like we are getting some sideboard switch ups right now. Love to see it.
Oh, say that one more time.
It looks like we are getting some sideboard switching up now. You'd love to see it. Changing up the strategies as far as how they're going against each other.
Yeah, I'm very curious what the sideboard. It looks like a lot of cards coming in from the sideboards.
I'm trying to think of what Smiling could bring in. Like what we saw before that might have been brought in.
If I was Smiling Titan here, I'd probably want to bring in maybe like Hero's Upbringing if I don't already have those. You know,
Hmm.
make it so that Rodan. Well, I don't know. By the time you get to use it, it's probably too late. Like Rodan's priority blocked enough. You don't play more than 2 attacks, and you don't block more than 2 attacks. I don't know. I don't know if Hero's Upbringing is actually it. Um, it seems like a pretty tough sideboard for the Smiling Titan. I think on the Rodan side, I'm bringing in capes. I'm bringing in barrier shields. I was a 4
Yep.
barrier shield player myself, so I don't know if this one has 4, but a 4 barrier shield seems like the right call for this metagame.
Well, we did see Heroes Upbringing over on Reiner. I don't think we've seen Coinmas though.
Yeah, I don't know if Hero's Upbringing actually helps as much as I think it does. You could do the enhance to like seal the attack so it doesn't have shift.
Hmm.
All right, we're getting things started off nicely with a sweeping daggers. Getting the old sweeping daggers to hit duplicit. No, what do we hit? Oh, we hit Ravages of War, so we're making Smiling discard cards. So this is how you beat Smiling Titan. You just play you play Sweeping Daggers and steal their 8 diffs with your 4 diff.
I mean, not a bad call.
It's a very cool play. It's very much a have a taste of your own medicine play.
It really is. Going over to Rejuve Smash.
Okay, big Rejuve coming out. We got to sculpt the top of our deck, which is why Rodan players are so down to play this card. We're never checking bad. And then we get to draw 2 cards, and we had Supersonic Flight on top. So we're gonna get to draw another card, and with Botons, we should get a momentum out of this.
Yep, using Botons. Discard and draw. Again, Justin sitting on defensive turn with only 2 in hand.
Yeah, he's got to get that early build to
Yeah,
fuel his offense, and having to use that always cool to build back up to 4 foundations doesn't feel great, but it does mean he will not fail any of the attacks we've seen him play so far, except maybe Attentive.
and we have Gavin building more on stage and then passing on, leading into destructive power once again. Checks the Ravages of War, has to commit out the entire board in order to get it out there.
Yeah, but this one is worth it at least most of the time. Committing the Invincible Body might be a mistake, but I don't think so. The only bad thing with these D-build attacks into Rodan is the fact that Rodan does get to choose which block mod goes on top. Oh!
Oh,
Hold on,
there
we
it
saw...
was. There was Barrier Shield into Koenma's.
Yeah,
I think somebody in chat called it out too.
someone in chat said Smiling probably brings in Koenma's 4 barrier shield. I was not expecting that because we didn't see the barrier shields from game 1. So I didn't expect
didn't.
Smiling to have the read on barrier shield.
That was great.
That was
amazing to see.
That was, I mean, that was huge. That was more than half of Rodan's health with 1 attack. So, you know, you can't mess around and like overextend on a failed kill turn now.
That Koenmas may have just won Smiling Titan this game.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could look at the discard pile because if you could like form
Yeah.
on Koenmas to go hit your best attacks, that would definitely put too much pressure and I'd have to assume close the game out considering how many foundations Smiling Titan has access to. But Sweeping Dagger's gonna knock out that last card. Justin might have been playing a little too aggressively relying on that health total. It's not so big anymore, but Button Collector gonna draw us one random card.
And ended up knocking out Ravages of War. Well, out of all the cards you possibly do, that probably is one of the better ones.
Yeah, Ravages of War when your opponent has one card in hand is an absolute house.
Mm-hmm. And we get to see Tranquility
Oh,
and Death
Button
come
draws
back out as
two.
well.
Uh-oh. Well, we are not judges. We are flies on the wall, unfortunately. Um, things have progressed too far. We're gonna hope that the button drawing an additional card won't matter. But yeah, you're right. There is two button collectors out.
We do see Smiling bringing out Tranquility of Death again, so it will be interesting to see exactly who's sealing what at the beginning of Justin's next turn.
Yeah, I mean, if we get that far, right? I gotta feel like this game is pretty close to over. Smiley's gonna be at 6 after this.
Yeah,
In
I think
fact,
you're right. I think Justin's overextension last turn may be the end of it.
yeah, in fact, if I'm Rodan, I think I put 2 speed on this attack with Red Right's the coolest just to it's because it's, already the 9 speed. Yeah, and we're gonna rip the last card out. That's gonna do it. All right, I'm gonna interfere. I'm gonna message. I'm gonna talk to the players for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm not sure if they heard me, but I did. I did my due diligence. I think I have chat disabled.
No, I commented in there just in case.
Yeah. I just saw like a little thing by your name. And I was like, what is that symbol? And I realized it's the chat symbol, but I have chat disabled on TTS because I used to play a little Star Wars on here every now and then. And like the chat log would just be filled with like game actions, like like scripting and stuff, so
Yeah.
it got annoying.
Or there's the chat comes up whenever it's like, oh, they peaked, so they manipulated the deck or looked at their discard pile. They changed the deck. That pops up constantly.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
A little bit of a different build ends up failing the last card, going for the 6 build once again.
6 build pretty dangerous, but also can feel pretty necessary. We're not exactly free to a Ravages of War. because we've got 2 cards in hand, but it would feel pretty good to play one still. At the very least, you would know they can't barrier shield and block without using like Botons or something.
Yeah. Oh, Coinna is already in the discard pile.
Well,
Ravages.
There it is.
One of that and unexpected outcomes. One of the reasons I hate and have PTSD from Smiling Titan.
Yeah, we haven't seen unexpected outcomes. I'm a little surprised, but it looks
I'm
like
surprised as well.
Yeah, it looks like Justin is sticking to mostly attacks that attack the stage, right? We've mostly just seen the 8 diff Ravages. We've seen the 9 diff Power of the Colossus Titan. We've seen the Colossus Titan attacks. I can't remember what other attacks we have seen.
There was one other one that I saw that was intriguing. Too big to contain. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's the other one. The 7 diff that pops something. So we do have Rodan down to 13 already. So this is the big difference, right, between the original Smiling Titan and Smiling Titan now. Rodan would be at 9 if it was the original Smiling Titan, which would mean anything would kill him after that.
And Sweeping Daggers once again starting off the attack chain for Rodan.
Yeah, the 3-check, pretty unfortunate. Every resource is going to count in this matchup, I'm pretty sure. When you've got the opponent playing 12 speed moves that debuild you turn 2, every foundation is going to matter.
Ends up taking out one of the destructive power, Colossus Titan destructive power, which I think is a good call given that it will shift and add another foundation, which is potentially lethal later on.
Well, he can't shift the Sweeping Daggers, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no, I mean if Justin was able to actually play it out.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah. Like he might have some that brings it up from the discard pile, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because he had Beast Titan's Call, didn't he?
That's true. Yeah, he did have Beast Titan's Call when it deals you mill and go find stuff. Which is kind of funny. It technically helps Sweeping Daggers, but like not really. Not if it actually hits the shift, right?
I didn't even think of that as far as it helping Sweeping Daggers.
Yeah, like if you hit one shift card, it doesn't because you're gonna build it, and Sweeping Daggers doesn't get to poke at it. But everything else besides the one that you build, it like kind of speeds up the Sweeping Daggers pool. But Justin has 8 foundations, so 9 cards to pass with. 10 if we ready Smiling Titan. And there is only 5 cards, well, 6 with Rodan ready on Gavin's side. So this is pretty precarious, but Justin might not draw more than 1 attack.
So beginning of the turn, Tranquility of Death, they sealed the Desperate Struggle and Aaron's Sidestep.
Yeah, which means we're going to see the Aaron Sidestep get committed to this Colossus Titan's destructive power. Ugh, this is so gross.
Which even though Rodan was able to remove one of them, still had another one in hand.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the card that made me go, okay, maybe we have the stats necessary.
Is there Quinmas? There is not.
He did reset that down to 0. So very nice stuff. Very easy block gonna come out, and that breaker 2 should matter some. Oh no, that was a half block? Oh no, that's not good.
Oh, that was a half block. It was a low.
Barrier shield into half block is not the signal you want to send right now.
Oh, but he doesn't have anything else in hand.
Unless we were playing around that breaker 2 for our attack, but I don't think a 3 diff is how we would do that. So yeah. I think I was right. I think we only drew the one attack, which, considering our opponent had barrier shield in hand, that turn went really good for Smiling Titan.
It did. And he does pick up a last second rescue and an invincible body, so he does have plenty of ways to deal with the attacks about to get thrown at him on Rodan's turn. So we shall see how this plays out. He does have Desperate Struggle out there as well. So launch a damage reduction.
And we also have a fashion icon, which is effectively a speed reset. So if our rival barrier shields us again, then we can reset it to printed. Or, defensively you can reset it to printed. But, most importantly is against barrier shield, that card becomes like +8 speed in this deck.
And Rodan is ending up building out. I'm just going to go straight for a defense posture going into Smiling Titan's next turn. If I'm up against Smiling Titan's board right now, I might just have scooped at this point.
There it is. We were just talking about not seeing the unexpected outcomes yet, but this one is massive.
The entire time.
Granted, when you flip it and play it face down, it doesn't have a printed difficulty, so Smiling Titan gives it no stats, but still, we're going to rip out an Ice Sword or a Rejuve. If we do the Rejuve, I'm pretty sure we get to draw 2 cards.
And now we've let him know that we've got 2 barrier shields in hand.
Yeah, double barrier shield is pretty sick, though. It's going to take at least 1 Koenma's to get through that. But I didn't check the block zone, so we had 2 barrier shields. Ice Sword is a high as well. Did we see what the 4th block zone was?
I did not.
I was too busy paying attention to the attacks. So we got rid of the mid blocks from Rejuve. So there's a chance that last block was another high block or a low, meaning that these partials are still going to deal some damage.
Well, it does make a lot more sense now why he built 2 air side steps and then pass turn.
Yes. Yes, it does.
It does make a lot more sense.
Was that a Botons? Looks like a Botons. Yeah, so it was a low. Yeah. But we luckily Rodan let us go fish for what has to be a mid block, right?
And no Koenma's coming out. Barrier shield will go through.
I think Fashion Icon is your rival's card pool. Yeah, it's your rival's card pool. So Fashion Icon doesn't count as a reset in the way I thought it did. I was wrong. It's change it to the printed speed of an attack in your rival's card pool. You can do it on your own attack, but your rival has to have an attack in their card pool for it to do anything.
Mm-hmm. That was a good catch, though.
He's pumping the damage in case it's a partial.
I mean, not a bad call.
Oh, what a draw. We drew not only a mid block, but we drew a mid block that's going to draw us 2 cards and gain us 2 health. And Aaron's sidestep is going to draw us a 3rd card. We might actually dig ourselves out of this hole.
This is ridiculous. Not at all the way I thought this was going to play out.
Now, does Justin remember that he can flip it and play the Rejuve on a 5 to draw 2 cards? Or is he going to keep playing cards from his hand?
I think he's going to keep playing cards from hand. Well, he's checking the removed file.
He's looking for it. He's looking for the wording.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cards from hand.
Yeah, now imagine if Rejuvenating Smash had Breaker 1 and a 5 check, and you could do it multiple times in a turn. That's Templar.
So even though he committed one of the Tranquility Deaths, put another one down. So that means if it does get back to Justin's turn, then they're going to have 2 opportunities to seal cards.
Yeah, normally when you've got 2 Tranquilities out, the opponent has to pick your second Tranquility when you respond with the first one, right?
Because it goes in order.
Yeah, because you resolve one and then the other, so usually you only get to resolve one, but having that as like the target they have to pick has its own value, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can almost view it as you can now seal one thing and they seal nothing.
Gavin taking extra time to look at exactly what's on the board.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to figure out how do I not just roll over and die by playing too many cards, because that is a real concern.
Opting to build. Now, if I remember correctly, he still has a barrier shield in hand.
Yeah, still sitting on at least one barrier shield. Justin's probably waiting until he has at least one Koenma's before really attempting to go in with something that isn't just like board, board state, staging area related.
Mm-hmm. And opting to stay right under deadlock as well. I don't think I've seen any deadlock enhances on Justin's side, though. Or none that jump out immediately.
I've definitely not seen any true deadlock, no. There's been maybe 1 or 2 scaling abilities, but not really, no real deadlock. Gavin has like 1 deadlock ability on Red Right's the coolest that I don't even think works on any of his attacks.
It looks like he did not seal the second Tranquilities. 2 of Aaron's sidesteps got sealed. And I believe it was Button Collector and Berthold's Devotion that got sealed on Justin's side. Although he didn't turn them, so I'm not sure. Comes out with Ravage's War to kick it off.
That's definitely a good one. And again, we were talking about if you play too many cards, you might just lose. I'm going to start setting up the bracket for our giveaway. I've got the Tyrion Darrington dice set. I don't know if it's limited edition, but the last time I looked on Amazon, the only one I saw was the Scanlan dice. So I've got a giveaway of a little dice set, for D&D, but you can use it for tracking all your speed and damage with playing your Tyrion Darrington deck as well. And the D20 has a Dottie icon on the 20 side, so I think that's pretty cool.
For sure. I do have a couple of the sets of the Critical Role characters dice, and they are really, really good.
Oh yeah, you like own some?
Oh yeah, no. The one that I like is because I've been, I mentioned at the beginning, I've been critter for 9+ years.
Oh, that's true.
I
You
have the
did
Vox
mention that.
Machina. I have the Vox Machina D20 set, so it's the D20s from all the different characters in Vox Machina.
That's sick. Yeah, I saw they had like different packages. They even have like a Dungeon Masters one, which I was like, huh, I wonder how you like decide the colors of that one besides just what Matt Mercer likes.
As someone that convinced his partner into playing D&D, and she got so addicted that she's in 4 games at once. We are a dice goblin house, unfortunately, for better or worse.
I used to be a
Going
dice
back and forth.
goblin, but after moving so many times, I ended up in like loaning out my dice and not getting them back. I went from being a dice goblin to like somebody who cannot find dice. So
Hmm.
feels kind
You're
of
going back
bad.
and forth building over and over.
Yeah, this is the kind of stalemates that like turn 2 decks are. So like this is how we end up with turn 2 decks in our format, where this is too often like an average game state where Rodan can't afford to play enough attacks to willingly deal to reliably deal damage to Smiling Titan, or else he will just die. And Smiling Titan can't play enough attacks to reasonably deal damage or reliably deal damage to Rodan without having like the absolute nuts in hand. So Smiling Titan has to build and sculpt until they can play like 4 or 5 attacks, and Rodan has to hold 4 or 5 cards because Smiling Titan's attacks make them fucking discard cards. So
Yeah.
it's this is and so to overcome this level of like defense and walling, characters like Nick Reagan and Hanji 2, Hanji 4 Eyes, I guess, have to exist. It's like a crazy arms race, but it's where we're at.
I completely forgot about Discipline Maneuver being in his deck as well.
Yeah, this one is super cute. I like to play Discipline Maneuver with tuned index with Supersonic Flight, so you draw 3 and get 9 damage. But yeah, this one's just gonna be lethal, and I assume we're putting everything else we can into speed. I'm also
And it looked like
no. Go ahead.
2 of the 3 Tranquility of Deaths came into play. But I still don't know what got sealed on Justin's side.
Yeah, it looks like 1 Tranquility went off. I'm not sure. I think maybe he
Yeah,
forgot to
inside-
Tranquility, and it's actually just all of the air and side steps are are
Well,
supposed to
yeah,
be right
Aaron's
side
his
up.
stuff, but he also sealed Cape.
Oh, you can seal Cape. You're right.
It's
Okay.
a 1 rival card. That's the only reason I like that card, is because it's 1 rival card. It can be backup, it can be asset, it can be anything.
That's actually sick. I didn't even realize that.
Now that I said that, I just have. Can you seal a character?
It's errata to say non-character.
Okay, cool.
That much I did know, but it like escaped my mind that the non-character part means assets are still legal.
Assets, backups, anything. Okay, it did get errata because I read that out loud, and then when I hold up, wait, characters or cards?
Yeah, that would have been a little too good.
Oh yeah.
Peeking at the top 4, gonna make sure we don't check bad to block this 4 speed move. I think the real question here is just gonna be how many attacks can Justin pass. There is a world where Justin mills out a Rodan, which is kind of ludicrous to think about, but they're about even on cards left in, let's see, 35 to 36. So they're about even to like cards left in deck and discard pile. But Rodan's going to continue to remove cards to play defense.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen a Rodan get milled out. It has happened in the past.
True, but hasn't it been like by other defensive decks like Ghidorahs or other Rodans? I don't think we've seen a
Yeah,
Smiling Titan mill anyone out.
you're right. I don't think I've seen that either.
Like I've seen Eraserhead win by mill, I've seen Overhaul win by mill, I've seen Momo win by mill, I've seen Recovery Girl technically win by mill, although it was a Dobby 3 doing it, so they were kind of milling themselves. I've even seen Endeavor 3 win by mill, but it was against a Rodan, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, Send it Battle getting played. Checks the 3, has to commit 3 for it.
That's crazy because we just looked at the top 4 cards of our deck, right? Does that mean they were all attacks?
That would make the most sense. Another Koenma sitting discard or remove. The question is, if you're Rodan at this point, how do you dig yourself out?
You wait for a turn like this where Smiling like actually gasses themselves out that they can't play even a speck of defense, and then you draw into Ice Sword, or Ice Sword, Rejuvenating Smash, Violent Animus, Tri Gravity, Ascend to Battle. Well, really, it's just be able to resolve one Ascend to Battle with no defense on the rival side, which basically means you draw multiple Ice Sword executions.
Yeah.
But it would take, it has, Ascend to Battle has to be like the 4th attack played, and at least one has to deal damage before it, etc. Dice giveaway is after this game ends.
Takes Koenma's, puts it on top and checks it. And ends up rotating the deck. Still 3 remaining in deck for Rodan.
Yeah, so when Rodan
just cycled.
If Rodan cycles without doing any other incubatings or Rodan enhances, they'll have 19 cards to Smiling's 21. So it'll be pretty close.
Oh, my camera just dropped. There we go. I ended up figuring out earlier that I overloaded one of my USB buses with my audio interface and my camera being plugged into spots right next to each other, which is why I was having the issues earlier.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm certainly overloading at least 1 or 2. I have 5 USBs plugged in, and they're all pretty much right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
Oh,
yeah.
I just touched one and I heard something get disconnected, so. Alright, so we got double disciplined maneuver, stun 4 into a Ravages of War. Rodan has a chameleon cards in hand and a big stage. But knocking off 1 momentum might be the most important thing this attack ends up doing if Rodan somehow survives this turn. But something tells me that the attack that's played after this one is going to be the game ender. I think Rodan will survive exactly this attack, and then we will die to the next one. But I could be wrong. There could be double barrier shield happening.
I was going to say, we still haven't seen the last barrier shield, have we? Because he did have it in hand, but I don't think it's been played.
Yeah, so I think we've seen. I think there should be two left. I don't know. I think we saw two in the discard, or like one get used, one get put in the discard, and then we had the one in hand. And I
Yeah.
want to assume we drew the fourth one, but that's just because I'm assuming with how many cards there are in hand.
Now they're talking about what I mentioned before, that if Rodan takes the attack unblocked, then he's going to get burned for 2, and that'll be lethal. So now all he needs is the speed pump, make it unblockable, and then Rodan will.
Yeah, I mean, this is. It is possible that this is the game ender.
Mhm. So Gavin using it looked like he used incubating in order to get some of that damage reduction.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's important to note right after you cycle, there are no cards in your discard pile to pay the cost on incubating. So these are the slim, tiny margins when people are like, well, how do you win from this position? You know, in universes, it's so hard to explain. Well, you have to play cards until the Rodan cycles, and then when the Rodan cycles, they won't be able to afford all of their abilities. So then you'll have like effectively 3 more speed on all your moves because they can only do Rodan and not incubating. And it's like it's such a way more like long term goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've
If
I've
you
had
can't, if you can burn him fast enough, then you have to focus on the end game.
yeah, like I've had players who come over from Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, and they would have scooped 3 turns ago when Justin was building for 3 turns in a row. They would have scooped because they would have thought, well, Rodan's like the best defensive character. His board's getting big. He's holding all these cards. How am I ever supposed to get through? How am I ever supposed to win? And it's like games like this happen. You know, there's worlds where the Rodan like killed Smiling Titan 3 turns ago by playing 5 attacks while they were turbo building, and like there's games where you wait it out until they cycle and then you can actually attack them, you know?
And just like you said earlier, ending up using the last of the discard pile to incubating, take it down to 7 speed. And crucial for them because they only go for half block.
Yeah, this is oh no, this is a high attack, right? This one's a high.
Is it?
Yeah, this one's a
Yes,
high
it,
attack.
excuse me.
But we did commit basically all the way out. I mean, again, we have one
Yep.
card in discard, so that incubating not relevant unless we also have a barrier shield. This one's gonna be a throw. Oh my! The throw is not lethal on partial unless I'm missing some crucial damage pump somewhere. But we also have league invitations to commit out the last card. I don't know. This one's not quite fast enough, and I don't think it's quite enough damage.
It's sitting at 10 currently. It would have to at least get to.
Wait a minute. But we blocked with attack cards. That means even if there's a barrier shield in hand, Fashion Icon can reset this to 5 speed. So there is actually a very nice cat and mouse game going on here. Oh, and the league invitation giving him the giving him a random card on top could have given him a +1, which would have been huge.
This is definitely a spicy setup right now.
Okay, here comes the barrier shield. Here comes the Koenmas.
There's the Glimas. But ends up having to commit Bertoltz. No,
Yeah.
commits Fashion Icon instead, wants to keep the 2 burn on there.
Yeah, the Bertholdt's destructive power shouldn't matter. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. He had
That's
only
cool.
attacks in his hand. Wow.
Wow.
What an insanely good next turn Rodan was going to have. But unfortunately for him, Justin Birch is the bane of all Rodan players. managing to take it out even in a late game scenario, smiling over Rodan.
Mhm.
That was pretty insane. I don't think anyone had smiling on their radar for this event. I know most people don't put smiling over Rodon, especially post errata. But Justin
Yeah.
Birch has always been that guy for smiling over Rodan.
It looks like our other match potentially has wrapped up, but they haven't reported yet.
Yeah, I'm waiting for I am waiting for the what you call it. I am waiting for both games to report. We do have the giveaway, which is not showing up on my screen for some reason. Weird. I guess I can just do a window capture on that. Seems unnecessary, but here we are. Oh, that's why this is like that. Aha! I found it. All right, here we go. We've got big old wheel spin of names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm missing one name. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Luna Blossom. That's the name. Okay. I was missing one name. There should be 14 names. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, I'm still missing one. Who am I missing?
Cohen.
All right, let me see. Colby, George, Justin, Gavin, Carl, Lena, Cohen. I'm missing Cohen. Okay, there we go. 14 names. All participants have an equal chance to win a Taryon Darrington dice set. We're going to give it one spin only. Who do you think's going to win?
I'm gonna root for. I'll random roll right now, and I got Marlin.
Okay. You're rooting for Marlin. I think it's either going to be David Toombs or Justin Birch because those are the two biggest luck sacks I know in universes. But let's find out who's going to win. One spin, that's all it takes. Oh, it was so close to Marlin, but it's TC.
TC, let's go.
Everyone's favorite Nomu player, TC Devertanian. I don't know if I said that correctly, but he won him some Taryon Darrington dice. So I'll be reaching out to you, getting your delivery info and sending that out as soon as possible, my dude. Congratulations.
And don't forget, we have the tournament coming up in 3 weeks for Webcam Warriors. So it'll be hosted on my channel, and we'll have some giveaways for that as well. Sam doesn't know about it yet, but we host them.
I did not know about those. What do you have anything you want to spill right now?
There is some. There's some stuff in there that is going to be super hard to get. I will say, yeah, I can say one. Something that took me forever in order to get it from Nats to the house without getting it bent. I have an uncut sheet of the Critical Role Vox Machina Mighty 9 cards.
Nice.
Which I'm going to have as a giveaway for it.
That sounds pretty tight. I guess I guess I should talk about the Webcam Warriors prizing before we do the final round, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let me bring this up for 1 second here. Can't remember where I put the actual image. There we go.
And David Toombs took the win.
Yeah, it's gonna be David Toombs versus Justin Birch, a blood feud for the ages in our finals. Notably, Justin has beaten David Toombs' Rodan with Smiling Titan for money in the past, but now we're gonna see if Reiner does any better against Smiling Titan. But first, let's talk about Webcam Warriors. April 27th, by the name implies, it is a webcam event. It's going to be hosted on Snuggy's Twitch, but in my Discord. And the prizing is going to be based on every 8 players that sign up. That seemed to be the easiest way to bracket it off. It's going to be capped at 64 players. And so the prizing per 8 players is as follows. First place is going to get $25 per 8 players. Second is going to get $12.50 per 8 players. Third and fourth are going to get $6.25 per 8 players. And fifth through eighth are going to get $1.08, $1.8 per 8 players. The way that breaks down, I meant to make a graphic for this, but I forgot to. But basically the way it breaks down is if we get 64 players, first place gets $200, second place gets $100, third and fourth are going to end up with $50 each, and fifth through eighth are going to make $15. So a little more, or they're going to get their entry fee back, because Webcam Warriors, unlike the webcam circuit, is only a $15 entry fee. I decided not to increase the price of the ticket. That might be something that changes if people prefer the higher price to enter the tournament for better pricing. That might be something that we evaluate later, but right now I like it as a $15 tournament, and I like the pricing where it's at. But on top of that, all of top 4 is going to win a pre-order of Attack on Titan 3 thanks to Undefeated at Locals. They've been generous enough to donate 4 boxes to the prize pool. So all of top 4 is going to win a pre-order. If you get first place, you're going to win $200. If you get second place, you're going to win $100 if we get all 64 players. So please, everyone, tell all your friends, make sure everyone's got the date. It's a Sunday. If you're a Sunday gamer, this is a webcam event on Sunday. Only $15 to sign up, and I'm hoping to have giveaways based on deck lists. I've been doing random giveaways. I want to start doing like coolest deck competitions and things like that. So we're gonna have a little more involved on the giveaways on my end. So Snuggy, you of course can give away product however you want to whoever you want.
Lots of giveaways all the time.
Yeah, so there's going to be a whole lot of stuff involved. I'd like to do giveaways for chat, because just like I appreciate you guys playing in these events, I absolutely love it when you guys tune in and watch as well. So thank you for supporting the channel and the content. But I think it's time that we move on to our final round. What do you think?
I will say the uncut sheet that I am having as a giveaway is for chat. It's not for participants. So
oh, that's
in
sick.
chat, you will be able to get an opportunity to win it, because not only do I have people from UVS, but I have a lot of people in my community that are fans of Critical Role as well. So show up, win some free stuff, because I've got way too much of it.
That is super awesome. That is super awesome to hear. I love rewarding people for tuning in to chat and hang out. And I love just spreading prizing as evenly as possible. But it's time to move on to our final round, man. It must be such a cool thing to be a Snuggy subscriber if you're doing cool giveaways like that all the time.
No, don't subscribe to me. Just come by the channel. Subscribe to Ace Maneuvers. All right, and it looks like Smiling Titan going first.
I was muted for all that. Here's your grand finals. We've got Justin Birch on Smiling Titan going first versus David Toombs on Reiner Braun. And I gotta be honest, partner, it seemed kind of shaky for David in earlier rounds. I didn't know if he was gonna pull it off, but here he is in the finals.
It is definitely going to be interesting, especially seeing Justin's deck go both ways today, killing it instantly and then having to play a long game.
Yeah, I will say I'm very impressed at his tenacity in that game 3 to stick around, sculpt the hand. You know, I would say figure out the winning line, but Smiling Titan is definitely a hammer, and he found the nails necessary to pull it out. But Chomp coming out turn 1, this has been the Reiner Braun special.
Chomp coming out, getting rid of the Keiko Zayden. Been playing into it, Always Cool and Weapon Clash.
Little double ramp. These are going to be 2 Attack on Titan characters with the death symbol that are down to hard ramp, but David's finding that ramp first. And one thing I don't think we've seen, have we seen David transform in any of the games that we've seen the deck get played at all?
No, he's been playing on the front side the entire time. There was one part when we were watching his match earlier against TC that I think he could have transformed, but he ended up killing off a card from the stage, which put him just under what he needed.
That's probably the craziest part, is that it's just been like death 4 checks, good stuff, resource denial light package, but that's also kind of what the Smiling Titan deck is. Like, these are both 2 decks that are just on high difficulty, high control, resource denial.
Okay, in chat, you said you transformed in round 1. There was a joke call about it, so.
Okay, yeah, I'm assuming he's trying to transform. We just hadn't seen it because we watched one match of his where he did not. But here's Too Big to Contain. Too Big to Contain is funny because it's an attack where you want to commit out to block it.
Mm-hmm. It is a card that both decks are playing, if I remember correctly. Unexpected outcomes coming out for a block. And that will be the last card in hand for Justin.
Yeah, ripping something off Botons might be the call, but it'd be pretty risky. Pretty early use of that Botons. Alright, and here's more damage reduction. I've been a squad mate's betrayal hater, but it certainly has a home in decks that need 6 checks and are not planning to block, and going down to 0 cards in hand. I mean, 0's as good as 1 against the Ravages of War deck or an Unexpected Outcomes deck so much of the time, right?
And now they'll get the seal opportunity off of Tranquility to Death. You said squad mates, you've been a hater on it. I haven't seen it played at all up until today.
Yeah, when I first saw it all the way back at the Atlanta Regional, I did a video on the top cut list, and it was the card I couldn't figure out. It felt like there was better options. It felt like, because I think this is the flip one, right? Yeah. So it felt like there was an enhanced commit for -3. The deck that I saw it in originally wasn't playing 8 diffs. I don't remember. I think it was a Toga deck. So I thought it was kind of interesting that It wasn't playing a repeatable damage source. There was lower cost foundations that do it, but it's not, those cards aren't 6 checks, and most of them are not a flip cost, meaning you can't use the resource, during the turn. You have to commit or you have to destroy. So like resource wise, Squad Mate's Betrayal is just kind of the best one as far as, keeping your flow going.
Hmm. Tranquility of Death, sealing Taguros, it looked like. But again, I don't know what's getting sealed on Justin's side. I'm not sure if he's not flipping them or what the case may be.
Yeah, it looks like he's just not flipping them. I have to assume it's Botons. It's either Dwaithfar or Botons that got sealed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it is. I think it is Dwarthar, Star Razor, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Tranquility of Death is a funny Taguro's Dominance target because you can respond to the ability being played before it seals Taguro's Dominance, allowing you to effectively trade 1 for 1. But I think, I think, um, David's gonna try to transform next turn, so he doesn't want to destroy or sacrifice any more foundations unless he has to. But this is a
Hmm.
big 10 damage coming through all the DR.
It looks like it went through. He just took
Wait,
it.
did Justin put speed on that? Even though David had no cards in hand, maybe he missed it. On TTS sometimes, like I personally I play zoomed in so I can like really see the board. Like I'd be like even further zoomed, like this close when I play. And he might have just missed out that his opponent had no cards in hand.
Yeah, you're right.
That's like a solid 5 damage that we essentially didn't get because either there's a piece of card draw that I missed, which doesn't look like there is, or we just forgot that our rival went down to no cards in hand. All right, well, Justin went boldly into deadlock. Uh, Reiner can transform if the rival has at least 9. So
Hmm.
there could be a transformation happening this turn. But it won't be getting every foundation face down. So I don't know if there's enough flip to try and win this race, or if it's something you want to wait to maybe see if the rival activates some Botons or something like that. But I don't know if it's the ruin game plan from here on out or what.
I think it would be wait for just a little more flip before you actually shift over.
Yeah, typically when I see the Reiner decks really pop off, it's when the transform and then the rival flips for like decimates their board. And I just don't know if flipping 4 foundations would decimate Justin's board at this point. Oh,
Hmm.
we do have the Taguro's Dominance killing the asset. That's very cool. Not choosing to do the Reiner response here though, which means we're not flipping yet. But we're also not going to get that resource back, right? The transform is not conditional. So, um, chat saying it seems like the Titans are a good counter to Nick. I don't know if counter is the word I would use, but these are decks that have high health totals and they're playing high difficulty attacks, which are very reliable at dealing damage to Nick Reagan decks. So that's kind of how I would put it.
And Reiner does flip. I think the Taguros on Starbrazer actually was a good call because if we did any quantifiable amount of damage against Smiling Titan, then we would be forced to play a non-attack after that.
Yeah, that, and it's going to be sealing your best foundation every turn, which is pretty annoying.
True.
And if I had to guess, it might be the only real asset hate in the deck because we're on the death symbol, but we're not playing Luna to Harris because it's a 3-check, right? So that's probably like, yeah, Chomp can get rid of most foundations that are a problem.
It seems like everything is falling into proper place for David right now.
Potentially, I mean, he still hasn't managed to deal damage yet, so
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. But he certainly has a lot of ruin potential on these upcoming turns. Luckily, Reiner's errated to only ruin on his own turn because whoever thought he could errata or he should be able to ruin on the rival's turn is a little Looney Tunes. So we got that corrected. But here's another sacrifice card with here's another ruin card basically with Ravages of War.
Mm-hmm. Jaw Titan attacks getting knocked out of hand and down to no cards in hand again.
Yeah, this time accurately identifying that we need to pump the damage because our rival has no cards in hand, but we do have Weapon Clash, and I'm with you, and Reiner for a lot of minus damage if we need it. But we are going to be chewing that board up really quickly if we do that. And without that refund response from the front side of Reiner, it's going to be pretty tough to keep that pace up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could be wrong. You were saying things were falling into place for Reiner, but I feel like Smiling Titan is just far enough ahead that as long as Reiner doesn't have a crazy good pop off ruin turn next turn, I think Smiling's just far enough ahead of the D build that it's not going to be enough. We do have another 12 damage move coming down because we have no cards in our hand. We've got no face downs to fuel Weapon Clash. We don't have our Greater Goal ready to keep that like cycle fueling itself. I mean, 1, 2, 3 cards ready. Check a 6 on a 9. I don't know what we could pass, but if we could pass another card, I think it would be game.
I was thinking about the amount of ruin he has, but you're right. I think that works more in Justin's favor than it does in David's.
Yeah, like at this stage, we could sacrifice 2 foundations for -3. Commit 1, I think, with Reiner for -2, or do you have to sack 1? Oh, you can't even minus damage with Reiner anymore. It's only plus damage on that side, which is what Broberg was talking about earlier. He said in game 2 he would have preferred not to flip. That might be why.
And we still have another burn 2 on stage currently readied. So he took it down by 3 damage, but he's still going to take 2 on top of that.
Yeah, we opted for -2 from the Armored Titan. Oh, what did we shift? Did we shift another Burt? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Is this during the same? Oh, he can. He double burned him. that Bertholdt's
Mhm.
Devotion is still in the same damage dealing window. So he got to burn him for an additional 2 off that. And this is what I'm talking about. I think Smiling Titan is just a few too many foundations and a little bit too much life for Reiner to burn his whole stage away and still have a chance to backswing. I was about to say knockdown blow is a great way to do that, but we checked a 4 anyways, so it's kind of like we're going to come out neutral with a +3 to our next check.
I do think it's interesting Beast Titan's call into double destructive power, being able to burn for essentially for 4.
Yeah, that's a super cute combo and a very heads up play to realize that these are all in the same unblocked damage window and that you
Mhm.
can activate it that way. So very cool stuff. Didn't win the game, would have been way cooler if it won the game, but imagine if that little bit of extra damage is the difference between Reiner being able to DR an attack to live versus Smiling winning the game.
Mm-hmm. And the good thing about that is, relating it to my own decks that I play, doing Beast Titan's call, uh, triggering destructive power, double destructive power. I'm also drawing 2 cards, and if I have Death Rattle on board, I'm also burning you for that as well.
Yeah, you're talking about Beast Titan, right? Like the character.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that just got like third or fourth place at the Boar's Hat Double Case event.
damn it, Sam, showing off everything that I'm doing with my deck.
Yeah, he's giving away the sauce, brother. You
He's
got to take
giving
him
away,
out.
he's giving away all the secrets, man.
Yeah, you gotta hit him with the gag order. Speaking of gag
Mhm.
orders, this knockdown blow is for 0.
Yes, it just got reset with Invincible Body. Knocked down to 0, and then we go into Armored Titan attacks. Getting him to flip another foundation, add to different things that we can ruin. Going for a Despot Struggle and flip. Interesting.
Yeah, I think the what's the foundation side name? Bertholdt's Devotion. I think the Bertholdt's Devotion is good to keep here, because you are against a damage reduction deck, and so naturally these attacks are going to go unblocked. And I mean, look at David's stage. He has like no chance of blocking a single Smiling Titan attack. He is
Mhm.
relying exclusively on, excuse me, Reiner Braun putting the attack damage down to 1, which we're
Mhm.
about to commit our character. Come on, no way. No way we commit our character here.
If he does, he's dead completely.
Like, what does Greater Gold do here if you don't pass this next check?
4
It,
checks to 5.
I guess
Or
it
4
just didn't
checks to 5.
matter. We were just destined to
Yeah.
be committed. All right, David is playing one of the most pro strategies you can play in universes, which is the my opponent hard bricks strategy. Will it pay off? It doesn't look like it so far.
Ravage is instantly killing his hand.
Yeah, normally this deck can play defense with no cards in hand, anyways, but we chose not to sack the I'm with you here. Probably won't matter, but that might have been -2 damage that we needed to get. I guess you can still sack it with willing recruits, yeah. So it's a total of -8 damage coming down on this attack. -10 now. So the Bertholdt's Devotion not going to be lethal.
Nope. This one would, though. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, this one will. All right, so Little late out of the starting blocks. Well, I guess I don't know. It seemed like both of these decks actually were kind of doing what they wanted to do. It's just the Reiner deck wasn't landing any damage, so he could not threaten the Smiling Titan. And the biggest difference seems to be Invincible Body is doing all kinds of work in a matchup where the only way to interact with the rival stage that David has is Chomp.
Hmm. And Smiling Titan taking the win on that, I'm not incredibly surprised, but the siding that's happening right now, I think, is going to play a crucial aspect into who's going to take game two. Reiner going first this time, so we'll see exactly how well that plays out for him. If I remember correctly, on Reiner we did see Heroes Upbringing, but we do know that Smiling has Gwen this task as well.
Yeah, I imagine the sideboards look pretty similar. One thing I'm a little surprised to not see as much of anymore, but might be the correct metagame call nonetheless for this tournament, is I've seen a shockingly low amount of runaways. If I was expecting to be playing against Nick Reagan, who's playing Patchwork Babies, or Mitchell Chimino's playing Patchwork Babies, and playing cards like True 100% and Death from Above, you know, cards that reset to printed like Desperate Struggle and Always Cool are really good. But I would also maybe think that Runaway was something I was going to see a lot more of, but it hasn't shown up today.
Coming out turn one with double Tranquility of Death and double Always Cool. Add a League Invitation on top of that. Build 6 turn 1 is really good.
Yeah, the main takeaway is that Justin Birch has managed to build one of the greediest decks of all time and has managed to go completely unpunished for it throughout this entire tournament.
Yeah.
And it's plays like this. It's the rivals checking attacks to start things off. This is going to leave Reiner incredibly open to a backswing attack. Smiling still is going to be able to pass it even if one of these foundations gets destroyed. And it looks like we're even going to opt to ramp a bunch of our foundations.
Yeah, just counting it out and putting both Always Cools in the card pool to get 4.
Yeah, it would have been funny if Smiling Titan could buff this attack speed to guarantee that we commit out to block it.
Mm-hmm. Checks Keiko's aid and David getting rid of the photons.
Yeah, very cool stuff to have the Always Cool add fake speed to our rival's attack for a benefit, which is not something you see very often. So Universe is remaining to be the most unique and like, I don't know if I should say skilled specifically, but it is the card game that has the most like variable outcomes I've ever seen.
I think this is the case right now. What you were talking about as far as Tranquility of Death, just sealing the other one so that you don't get too sealed.
Yeah, I mean, if you seal the League Invitation on the first one, what are you even going to seal on the second one, right? So
Exactly.
I can't imagine League Invitation is like the most heinous thing, but it looks like Justin might not even. Okay, there we go. Yeah. We activate the ability, Toguro is going to destroy it, then we choose seal targets.
Weapons Clash and League Invitation sealed.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, he forgot to respond with the second one. Yeah, Toguro's doesn't cancel, it just destroys. So that first seal effect goes off, and now he can respond with the second one if he wants.
Got it.
Or does Toguro's destroy a copy of that foundation? No, it destroys the same one. Okay.
Yeah, it destroyed. Yeah, I think
Interesting.
Data thought it would cancel it. I think that's the reason he went that direction.
Yeah, it's either that or he somehow talked Justin out of doing the second response because we did not turn a second card upside down. Okay, so it looks like we did choose to seal the second Tranquility because we're now activating League Invitation.
Hmm.
Smiling Titan took game one. Smiling Titan went first and won game one already. It is very funny how similar these two decks are, right? They're playing Too Big to Contain. They're playing Ravages. I don't know if the Reiner deck is playing the was it the Power of the Colossus Titan? Or Colossus Titan's Destructive Power, the 3-check. I don't know if David is
Yeah,
playing any 3-checks.
I don't think so.
So that's probably one he skipped out on. But that card has stats that are so good, Smiling Titan can't pass them up.
Hmm. It looks like there might be rules question going on right now.
We do have a judge call happening at the moment. I don't have it set up to listen in on it, but I am curious what it could be. Something to do with minus to a control check or something to do with after the attack resolves. It might be if Too Big to Contain destroys a foundation, can Reiner respond to rebuild it? Which the answer would be no. Reiner's response is after you sacrifice a foundation.
Yeah,
But if I had to guess, it's does Too Big to Contain count as Reiner sacrificing? Which the answer is no.
no, because he's not sacrificing it. The effect of the attack is.
Well, so the way that wording is yeah, it has to be Reiner choosing and destroying one of his own foundations, regardless of what
Hmm.
effect it is. Sacrifice is defined as you choose and destroy a foundation, at least one. A card where your rival chooses and you destroy it is not you sacrificing it, right? And a
Hmm.
card that is like destroy all foundations, there's no choice, so you're not sacrificing in that either.
That I never thought of. If it says destroy all, you're not actually choosing.
Yeah, so like Godzilla form or like Decay
Yeah.
Awakened, that doesn't count as sacrificing, which is annoying because sacrifice has replaced destroy one foundation as a cost. We now say sacrifice one foundation, but they are theoretically mechanically unique as soon as there is not a number attached. So it gets weird.
Too big to contain coming out.
This whole match has been too big to contain.
A lot of it has.
He's gonna choose to transform. That's gonna get 4 flips. And then after this attack resolves, we'll get to destroy a ready one.
Yeah.
Like we're debating on what to flip. Looks like we are we're valuing the tranquility quite a bit here, which I can't argue with.
Yeah, I can't argue with it either. But like I said, I hadn't really seen this Tranquility Death played in mini decks, but Justin seems to be really, really getting as much use out of the card's effect as possible.
I definitely haven't seen it in decks that are like this aggro, this aggressive. I almost always see it in super slow decks that, don't play any offensive foundations, basically. But this deck also doesn't really play any offensive foundations, so it makes sense to play it here too.
Female Titan attacks, committing character and almost committing out the board.
Yeah, I was gonna say at this point, David is probably desperate for momentum, but we just committed our character, so we're not even gonna have that access to the damage reset. Which I gotta feel like this is just really, really risky. Like, I imagine David's hand is not great. I imagine just building and passing back into Smiling Titan doesn't feel good. But I also have to hope that, you know, the deck has better defense when the cards in the stage are ready, because as we just saw, League Invitation came in, committed our greater goal, committed our last foundation there, and if we check poorly on this next one, that's it, our turn's over.
Smiling Titan ends up taking and getting the 3 build. Female Titan gonna transform rather than going to momentum.
Yeah, so at the very least, we'll be able to go pick up a knockdown blow. I think is the only punch that's available to us, but that's going to make our turns a lot smoother. That is, if we had an attack in our hand, which we probably don't after this unexpected outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Always cool getting sealed by Tranquility. That's gonna... I don't know.
Yeah, it's very funny. Tranquility is the only face-up foundation, the only foundation with abilities to target anyways, and it took out a doozy of a defensive piece. But at least there was no attacks in his hand, because that could have gotten really bad. Oh no. Well, we just saw what blocks David has in his hand, so this one is definitely going to hit when it's 9 speed for 12. Trying to ramp in case we get another turn is admirable, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. We should...
Yeah, I saw 2 in there that he can grab. Well, 1, because 1 wasn't flipped over, but it would be a destructive power.
Yeah, we're going to burn him again. Luckily, I don't think that... Yeah, luckily I don't think that foundation lets us play another attack, but Reiner is up against the ropes here. I mean, he's got to make something happen this turn, or else it's pretty much inevitable, right, that Smiling Titan's just going to play one more EX move or one throw or two attacks that you can't block both.
Which, trying to remember, we do know that he has an EX attack.
Right, David's trying to figure it out. He is looking at the puzzle. He's trying to solve the puzzle. How do I make it out? Do I form with female Titan? What attack can I even grab? How many can I play? I only have 8 foundations. There's a decent amount of damage pump if we had a way to sacrifice a foundation, right? Yeah, so if Reiner gets going with committed foundations to sacrifice, greater goal stacks on top of that. And then we've got +4 to all of our attacks, so we probably only have to pass 2 of them that, aren't interfered with. But between Weapon Clash and Invincible Body on the other side, there's probably 3 attacks minimum that we have to play.
We did just see Beast Titan's Call, but Beast Titan's Call has EX3. I think that was the one that was played earlier.
Yep, yeah, Beast Titan's Call, we just saw get EX to be a 9 speed for 12. Made it super duper unblockable into the current board state. And with 2 momentum and Smiling Titans enhance, it's going to be 16 speed the next time we play it if we so desire. So definitely got to feel like the clock is ticking if you are David. Already down a game. He's got to make something really impressive happen here. All right, this next one, if it's a shift attack, it's going to get +3 damage and the check will pass. But that means it's also almost certainly going to get invincible bodied as soon as it becomes lethal. So, if you don't have a way to make it lethal without pressing all of your character buttons, maybe you just don't press any and you play a 3rd attack and then you can play around invincible body then. For example, if you don't make this lethal, he has no reason to invincible body it. He passes, you pass. He takes 9, he goes down to 4. That means even if he does invincible body on your next attack, as long as greater goal is up, greater goal plus Reiner's +4 damage, and all you have to do is fight against the weapon clash that just disappeared completely.
And he did use the invincible body on it, so it takes it down to 0 damage.
Yeah, so I feel like we were baiting out the invincible body in a situation where we didn't necessarily have to, but if we had no more attacks to play after this, getting Justin to debuild the foundation here is fine. We are gonna commit. We are gonna commit a -3 flip cost instead of -3 on sacrifice 2. So I'm a little interested in that math, right? Like I think I'd rather commit 1 willing recruits, but I could be wrong because willing recruits is repeatable and we are in dire straits. We are at blow the entire board up just to have a second chance at life part of the game.
And then I would seal Berthold.
Oh,
unexpected outcome.
Unexpected indeed. I bet he doesn't have an attack in his hand. David was smart enough to get rid of all of his attacks, right? Yeah. So we're looking at what? Mid block and I just missed Final Words. Final Words I think is also a mid.
Yeah, Final Words is mid as well.
Yeah, so just a +2 mid and a +1 mid, which are the correct blocks for this situation. However, this attack is definitely gonna be too fast on an 11, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's a world where you don't press any damage reduction buttons until
Mhm.
smiling presses a button, and then maybe you try to block on an 11, but then you end up committing all these damage reduction cards that you liked. So I don't know. We also get +1 to our check with Inspiring Song. So like there's it's not a terrible world where we just block this one, right? Hmm.
Hmm. I'm looking for outs here, but I don't see one.
Well, I believe we still have -3 from willing recruits, and we still have the reset to 1 from Reiner. So if we survive this attack, uh, and then we can reset the next one to 1. But we'd have to play around the Smiling Titan enhanced. So not sure how good that's gonna go. Gonna take the 4, go down to 1. Luckily, no Bertholdt's Devotion hanging out.
Thankfully. And he's got a -1 on his check, I believe.
Yeah, importantly too, he did not get to ready his character. We're gonna check a 4 here, commit 5 foundations and the EX
The
plus
EX, that's game.
plus the zone plus the Smiling Titan damage. That's gotta be game, right?
That's game.
It's looking very much like Justin Birch is gonna win $50 playing Smiling Titan. And personally, I blame everyone who didn't sign up and play today. Everyone who didn't play, it's your fault that Justin Birch got to play Smiling Titan and win cold hard cash.
They're still gonna play it out.
Birch over Tombs and money matches? Yeah, that might just be the secret sauce, man. It might just be the money match curse, but he's gonna reset it to 1, but I don't think that's enough, right? Oh, we've got double -3. These are not minimum 1. I was thinking Weapon Clash, these are minimum 1. But that's not the
Yeah.
case. We're over here twiddling our thumbs like the game is over, but the Reiner reset to 1 was still alive.
And he drew 2 off it as well.
All right, so David's going to have 2 foundations and a dream. I could have sworn these were minimum 1. I'm not joking. I thought these were minimum 1, but they are not.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of weird when they decide to use minimums and not. Like, fully random, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the idea is you're sacrificing a whole extra foundation to get only 1 more minus damage than Weapon Clash, so 1 is like restricted in that way. But Weapon Clash also has a whole other ability on it, so
Taking it below 0, took no damage. Beast Titan's called, doesn't get the response. Forces Justin to try and build. He goes for build 3, fails. He'll get another one off Always Cool if he tosses it into the card pool.
Oh, it would be so cool if David won from here. Way less likely now, but if he had some way to deal 13 damage with one move played after a knockdown blow, that'd be so sick.
I'd love to see it.
If Justin can't block this and goes to 6, what is this? This pump speed, right? +2 speed, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards ready for Justin. 5 if he takes damage from this and readies the Smiling Titan. There's no way David pulls this off, right? There's no way. He destroyed his stage all the way down to 2 cards, checked a 4, and is somehow gonna pull this off.
Would need a 1 high block. If that, no, he'll take the damage.
Oh, he's gonna get to ready his backup. This one passes on an 8. It's gonna be 9 speed for 10?
Yes.
This is crazy. Justin might not even have the right block zone. He got completely bamboozled. We did too. We were saying it's over. But
Holy shit.
We're going to a game 3.
That was amazing.
He DR'd his entire stage away. Had to draw exactly those 2 cards because any other shift attack would have been too high difficulty to pass after checking a 4. And if it's not the female Titan attacks, he doesn't get to ready the backup for bonus speed, meaning Justin could have still partial blocked and taken 5 and lived at 1. Although I didn't see what block he had. I assume that +2 speed won that game. That is absolutely insane margins.
Hold on, it was... because I was looking at it. It was last second rescue that he had in hand.
Yeah, last second rescue would have blocked on a 9 and he would have had 5 cards ready, meaning that unless he checks like one of the 4 3s in his deck, he was guaranteed to live at 1 there. So that +2 speed that made it so that he would have had to check a 6. I think he still could have checked a 6. Oh no, he debuilt with the Always Cool. So the Always Cool is in the card pool. That's okay. Dang. What a game. So now Smiling Titan gets to go first for game 3 though. And Smiling Titan is going to start off with a nasty disciplined maneuver.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, I'll give credit to David. Like, that was, it was a mix, in my opinion, of big braining it, but also getting lucky on check. Because he had us completely fooled. We thought that was game over.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't think he could DR it below 1. I thought that that those were minimum 1, and then after he DR'd it below 1, I was like, well, he blew up his entire stage. How does he possibly play 2 attacks? And you know, he did exactly that. Like, these are the plays you have to make sometimes, and it's not a winning strategy most of the time to blow your whole stage away, but it's working for this Reiner deck.
Having the female Titan attacks in hand was so crucial. Just being able to re-ready your female Titan and be able to buff it 4 rather than 2 speed.
Yeah, and getting the speed on it. Yeah, getting the speed on both attacks was crucial there.
Now, this game is, I think, going to come down to who can kill the other one faster.
Yeah, Smiling Titan definitely has the edge in that game, and so far it's been whoever goes first is winning, but it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look like it's the player who went first winning the
Yeah.
game in either game really. But we got another Smiling Titan attacks. This one's very cool because it draws us a card no matter what.
Female Titan attacks coming out, going to get built down regardless. So we'll still have that damage increase, excuse me, speed increase that we can use later. Playing a 7, checking a 6. David's got to be happy about that.
Certainly,
And that's the card we were talking about earlier, as far as you being a hater on it, and then now checking a 6 to play a first attack on turn 2. That's great.
yeah, that's the thing is my brain is like, what is this for? Is it just because of the 6 check? And the answer could just be that it's the deck needs a 6 check version rather than a repeatable e-commit version, right? So
Hmm.
there's so many different tiny little twists and turns and knobs you can pull in deck building, and even when the game feels really stale and it feels like people are playing all the same stuff, I mean, we're seeing like tiny innovations. We're seeing decks resurrected. We're seeing, again, granted a small field. This was what, 4 rounds today, not like a huge major regional, but I think these players wanted to win. I think that they're taking it a little more seriously than a locals, at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like I know Webcam Warriors coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be taken super serious because not only are there big prizes, but it's only a few weeks before uh, Albuquerque.
Yeah, it should be the second to last event before Albuquerque. I think David Toombs' webcam circuit event is in June, and I think it's the week before, and Attack on Titan 3 is legal. But Webcam Warriors
Mm.
is your first opportunity to win Attack on Titan 3 cards, because there's going to be 4 booster boxes included in the top 4 prizing. And I'm hoping to get it to top 8 like I did in the past. I'm hoping to get the same number of prizes, at least as far as boxes go. Webcam Warriors 1, we gave away 10 boxes, I think it was. 2 to first place, 1 to everyone else in top 8, and then we also had a giveaway for someone in chat, and I thought that was really cool. So I'm working on that, but right now, if we get 64 players for Webcam Warriors, the winner is going to get $200 and a box of Attack on Titan 3, and I think that's a pretty good deal for $15.
For sure. And thank you, as always, for getting everything together because it's it's great to have these type of events actually interspersed in between the major events that we have, especially for those that don't have locals or it is very difficult for them to get near it. Uh, these type of events are amazing.
Well, thank you, but I couldn't do it without people like you, Snuggy, or people like Undefeated at Locals. So it's really, when we say community event, it really is a community effort. And speaking of effort, it's going to take David a lot of effort to deal with this Colossus Titan's destructive power. It is destroying his stage, committing his stage, and pretty soon it's going to be unblockably fast.
Hmm.
Unless we want to use a desperate struggles on this, which yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like we
he
did.
has
Oh,
to.
and we okay, that makes sense. It was at 7 speed. He would have probably had to block on an 8, makes it reliably big damage. So we used the desperate struggle for 5 damage, which doesn't feel great compared to the average deck. But when you look at the stats that Smiling Titan is giving, that's probably about as good as you're gonna get.
Mm, exactly. And it's great. It's great to be able to know what you're up against. If this was game one, then I don't know that I would make the call to use Desperate Struggle then. But being able to have seen exactly how hard hitting the attacks are that Smiling Titan has, it's the best call possible, at least for the time being.
Yeah, it's so tough because normally desperate struggles for attacks that start small or normal or whatever, and they get plus X like true 100% unleashed.
Hmm.
But in the Smiling Titan deck, it's basically just Smiling Titan. We talked about it a couple times. This deck is like a pile of defense and like cards to help you pass your checks, and then all of the offense is basically run through Smiling Titan, Like League Interview or was it League Invitation is kind of 50-50. Usually you do it on your opponent's turn though, so I would consider it primarily a defensive first and then you roll that into offense, but when you know that the only bonuses the attack is going to get is from Smiling Titan, that's the best bonus you can negate.
Interesting, getting rid of an armored Titan attacks.
Yeah, my best guess is David's been kind of clogged up. It seems like he's attacking because he has to, more than because he wants to, is how I'll put it.
Yeah.
Which I could be wrong. The Reiner deck could just be built to survive this kind of a struggle. Because as cool and as hype as that moment was, that game two was a struggle for David. I will not hear any other any other
No, that
version of that
was.
story.
I think he's trying to calculate right now because I think you are right, and he just is sitting on orange.
Yeah, I think
That's and now he has to figure out, okay, if it goes to Justin, will I actually get another turn after this?
Yeah, and I think what he's trying to figure out is how many attacks can I actually play? Because we've already transformed, right? We're already
Mhm.
transformed. We don't have minus damage on everything. We've got the one big reset, which is great. But the lower our health total gets, the less we can use that one big reset. And I feel like the knockdown blow has to be a massively important part of this turn. Um, and we're starting with the too big to contain because it's going to force out the invincible body. Invincible body has to be used here or it's going to get destroyed, right? Or he
Mhm.
commits it, one of the two. Yeah, he's going to commit it instead.
And commit
So
it. I think the way to go now is if you had another female Titan attacks, I don't know, opting to build.
oh, so yeah, the Keiko's Aid barred us out from playing another 7 div. And it looks like we
Yeah.
didn't even do the response to destroy a face down. We had one ready face down, but because Justin accurately committed all of his face up foundations and basically all but one foundation to pass that check, it made it so that, well, all but the Keiko's Aid, right? It made it so that
Hmm.
there was no good targets for the too big to contain. And the Keiko's Aid made it so that he couldn't play the knockdown blow to have a similar grandiose turn like he did the game before.
Yeah.
Which I'm still pretty sure
It,
through that math, at some point he would have needed to check a 6 to even do what he was trying to do. But maybe a Jaw Titan attacks, I guess. But uh,
yeah.
here's a Ravages of War, though. This one has been a nuisance all tournament.
So beginning with Tranquility, David's desperate struggle got sealed, and I think it was his Bertolt's devotion got sealed on Justin's side.
Yeah, that's basically the only offensive foundation we've seen in Justin's deck. The League Invitation kind of counts, but it's pretty much just been the Bertholt's devotion. that has been like a target for that seal. But Desperate Struggle is a great one to hit, especially once you're getting close to the end of a game. And when your rival's health total is lower, you pretty much only have to focus on speed. And so getting rid of a speed reset is really, really nice.
David taking the 6. Not worried about Bochels burning him for 2 since he sealed it. Then we go into Destructive Power again.
This one is an absolute blowout. 4 ready foundations. One of them is going to get destroyed. One of them is going to get committed. And one of them is going to get flipped.
Opting to keep Greater Goal, which I think is the only real play right now since Desperate Struggle was sealed. And that's going to be it.
But most importantly, the Ravages of War kills the momentum from Reiner, and David made the classic mistake that every Universes player makes, which is not pressing all of your defensive buttons as soon as you can, because he got absolutely bamboozled trying to save his reset down to 1. So, 2 Attack on Titan characters in the finals, 2 4-check Typal decks in the finals, pretty much, mostly 4-check Typal. And Justin Birch wins it with Smiling Titan.
If you asked me before today which characters I thought would be in the final, these 2 would not be it.
Absolutely not. When David said he was playing Reiner, I had no faith in it. And when Justin told me he was playing Smiling Titan, I thought he was actually joking. So these are definitely 2 characters I did not expect at all. And I think anyone who said that they were expecting it in the chat would be a liar. But congratulations to Justin Birch. I will get you your money as soon as the event is paid out. Congratulations to TC Devertanian for winning the Tarian Darrington. I just mentioned it, dude. He's in chat asking for the money. You should get it from David, actually. That'd be funnier. But I got the dice set coming out to TC Devertanian. And do you want to plug your channels really quick? I know I've had the Nightbot doing it for you, but if you want to plug whatever you got going, Snuggie, go for it.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Snuggie, or you can go to snuggie.live. It'll take you to my Twitch channel. I got YouTube, X, Blue Sky, all that happy stuff. Subscribe to Ace Maneuvers.
Thank you. Yeah, if you guys are not subscribed to Snuggie or Ace Maneuvers, I don't know what you're doing here. If you're not subscribed to Let's Talk UVS or the 4Checks podcast, I don't know what you're doing. You got to stay up to date with all the latest news, all the latest reveals. I know Snuggie's got reveals coming. David Toombs got to do his reveal. So just a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on in the community. I want to talk a moment about the Stark Dark Open series. There's a $2,500 tournament happening in person in Jacksonville. It's going to be a standard tournament with a $2,500 prize pool as the main event. And then there's also a 1K side event that is Rochester Retro. So the Stark Dark Open Series is going to be 2 separate events. So they are putting on a huge show down there at, I think it's Counterspell Games down in Jacksonville. So definitely check that out if you're in the area. If you want to win some Buco bucks playing Universes, you can go down to Jacksonville, or you can join Webcam Warriors April 27th on a Sunday. If we get 64 players, first place is going to win $200 plus a box of Attack on Titan 3. Then I think a week or 2 after that is June 7th. Should be 2 weeks? 27th. Oh, it's not June 7th. I don't know. Maybe it's June 4th. But like a week or 2 after that, we've got the webcam circuit event. Maybe it's July 7th. I don't know. David Toombs has a webcam event coming. There's an AOT 3 reveal by Snuggie in the chat. There's Webcam Warriors happening. There's a Joust happening on May 3rd. If you guys haven't checked out the rules for the Joust, go check out the rules for the Joust. I don't know. I think I'm all out of plugs. I think we're done here.
Yeah, and everybody, I'll see you for Webcam Warriors coming up in like 3 weeks. Like we said, we got giveaways both for chat, for participating, and plenty of prizes.
Yeah, you don't have to even win the event to get cool prizes. So I don't know what more you guys can ask for. Other than that, oh, deck list. I will publish the deck list in a video probably tomorrow. Please don't ask me for deck list. Don't spam my DMs for deck list. I'm gonna do a deck list video for the top 4 or something like that and put that on YouTube. So that's where you guys are gonna find the deck list from this event. Congratulations once again to Justin Burge. Congratulations to David Toombs for putting on an awesome show and winning that game too, which we were all literally counting him out for. So an awesome event. Thank you guys for tuning in to watch. Thank you guys for playing. And yeah, we'll see you all soon for Webcam Warriors. Peace out, everyone.